Hello, I am Reverend Dr. Shawn Moore. I'm here in the cellar. It is a martial arts gym that teaches Thai boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and MMA. And so I am pleased to introduce you to these two fine individuals next to me, Pam and Nathan. And these guys know a little bit, I'm just kidding. They know a great deal about resilience. And so we're gonna talk about resilience, but first I'm gonna give them an opportunity to say who they are. And you guys can go in any order you want to.
My name is Pam Sorenson. I'm a professional mixed martial artist. I also am a professional kickboxer and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I have 13 professional fights. I was the King of the Cage champion, the Invicta FC women's champion, and I currently fight for Bellator MMA.
Hi, my name is Nathaniel Richardson. I'm a professional fighter. I'm a professional in kickboxing, boxing, and MMA. My record is 9 wins, 3 losses. My kickboxing record is 12 wins, 5 losses. And we've pretty much been going on from there.
All right, so the course that you're taking on is Cultural Perspectives. Now, a major part of this course is looking at resilience. It's the ability to snap back once it's been bent. And so again, as you're looking through the course for cross-cultural perspectives, we want to take a look at what it means to be resilient. And so I have some questions for you guys if you want to answer them.
Sure.
Fantastic. So can you tell me about a time when you had to deal with a major crisis or trauma in your life?
I'll let you go first.
A major time would probably be when I was 7 years old and the Civil War broke out in my country. So we pretty much had to run away. My cousin got shot. Turned out he ended up getting paralyzed. So we had to learn how to adjust to that situation. Then eventually we had to move to Ivory Coast where I had to learn a different language, adjust to that custom before I can eventually move to the United States.
I had to deal with a major trauma. It happened just about 10 years ago. It was on my 26th birthday of all days. I was living in a townhouse with my best friend at the time. And we're not exactly sure what happened, but she had texted me happy birthday, asked what I was doing later. And I was like, oh, she's right upstairs. I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna talk to her in person. And I went upstairs, noticed her dog was acting a little weird, and she was face down on the kitchen floor, like purple, like she was already dead. So it was just a really big shock, a really big trauma to get over. And not only that, then kind of every year on my birthday, there's like that reminder. So that was something to overcome also.
Okay, thank you. So you've both shared something that was traumatic that you had to come over, or you had to overcome this thing. Can you share a little bit about, can you give me 3 things that you had to do to move beyond the traumatic event? What was it that you were in a normal space, this thing took place, which then maybe bent you or threw you off your game? What are the 3 things that you had to do to get back to where you were? Or maybe you're still going through those things. You can go in any order you want.
For me, 3 things that really helped me was, 1, kind of establishing a routine. So for me personally, I went through it's probably a good month where I didn't really do a whole lot. It was just kind of in the poor me phase. And then eventually you kind of get to the point where all right, something needs to change. I can't live my whole life like this. So one thing that was really important was a routine, whether it was getting up, making my bed, as silly as it sounds, doing something like that every single day. It really helped me it was something I had to get up and do. Getting up and working out. I found a great new, what would you call it, like a support system here at the Cellar Gym. It's actually what pushed me into my mixed martial arts career. I was just kind of looking for a way to get back into shape, something to kind of pass the time and let out a little bit of frustration. So that was the second thing, was finding a kind of like a new support group. And the third was allowing people to support you. It's so easy to try and push people out, whether it's your friends or your family, and be like, I can do it on my own, I can do it on my own. And sometimes you have to realize you can't do it on your own, and that's okay.
Great, thank you very much.
For me, I said the 3 things that I normally do for a routine with that. One thing I normally do is just I like to have time to myself to just get away from everything and just focus on the situation or wherever the problem is I'm dealing with, just to get my head right. Another thing I like to do is pretty much just stay active. I found out that working out or just doing a different activity get my mind off the problem and help me calm and process all the information on how to proceed a little bit better. And the third thing is just hanging out with people or just being around positive people to just keep my mood elevated so I don't think about the negative thing that's happening in my life.
Gotcha. So like I was saying before, you may not know the scientific data, but you've literally captured, both of you have captured 3 phenomenal things about being resilient. Number one, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Number one, you said that being around other people, having a community to support you in your recovery of normalcy, right? So you needed to recover with a group of people. Number 2, you needed a routine, something that you did all the time, make your bed or work out. And for both of you, you decided that working out was a great way to regain what was lost. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, and so again, that's excellent. Let me see. How do you cope with the pressures of everyday life? Like, what are like some coping skills that you use? It may be the same thing, but you told me 3 things that helped you out of that spot. Do you do those same 3 things now, or is there other things that you've added on for just coping skills? What does it mean to cope with a crappy time in your life?
For me, coping with a crappy time in my life is pretty much, like I said, I still got to dial myself back out from everything because I found out about myself is when I'm not me, I really can't function the way I normally am, and being around people really doesn't work well for me, so I normally got to take myself out of that situation just to make sure I won't come back till I feel like I'm myself again. So I might annoy people, I might not even talk to people for a while, just until my energy feels like I'm back to normal again. Another thing is I just learned to just process the information I went through. I can't feel sorry for myself, but I gotta see what role that I played in the situation that happened. That way I can address it better next time something like that happened down the road.
Gotcha. So you're literally saying you need to take yourself out of the situation and think about what happened. But then you also said that you take a look at what happened, kind of like watching a movie in reverse. Like, here's what happened. How do I make it out of this? Or how do I do better?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
For me, I think with every event that happens, I try to break it down and think of it as more of a marathon with all these smaller stepping stones. So it's like, I'm going to get to this point and I'm going to get to this point. So you still see the finish line, but it's like, all right, I have to make it through this really hard day. First, I'm going to make my bed. Then I'm going to go do this task, and then this task, and kind of breaking it down so it's a little bit more manageable.
I like that a whole lot. It's kind of the idea of how do you eat the elephant? Yes. One bite at a time. That's awesome. Here's the next question for you. Okay, so when do you seek help? Like, when is it that do you seek help when you first start seeing there's a problem? Do you seek help when you're in the middle of the problem, or towards the end? When do you decide I'm going to need some help with this currently moving forward?
Oh, well, I am very stubborn, so so it is hard to ask for help. So I'm more of like I'm gonna see if I can get through this. If I get to a point where I am isolating, I think would be the better word to put it. That's when I realize, like, okay, something's going on. We probably need can't fix this on my own.
Gotcha.
I say I'm kind of the same. I'm extremely stubborn on what it is. Because I'll go through process, and a lot of time I feel like I really don't need somebody else's help. I can figure this out. A lot of times I find myself just being in my own bubble for a while. Usually I'll get to the point where I'll go through the process of just what can I possibly do. I'm not huge on sharing what happened to me, so I stay away from people for a while, but I usually reach out at the end just to see how do I handle this a little bit better. And over time and time again, I've found a way that works for me, and slowly it might be just getting away from people for a while, or just talking to a coach about it, or somebody who knows what I'm going through for just a little bit.
Okay, see, I told you that we weren't going to follow the questions, and both of you have said something that has sparked something new, right? So let let's see, your level of resistance has increased over the years. So you both talked about some traumatic major things you had to come over. And how would you describe your ability to use your coping skills now? So you think about the very first event that was very traumatic, and now think about now, how would you describe this to someone? How would you describe your level of resistance to your level of resisting negativity or being stuck? Because we all get stuck. But if you keep working through it and working it through, you begin to build these coping skills. And I'm pretty sure that both of you at this point aren't in the same spot you were in the beginning that you are now. How would you describe that?
I'll say it's gotten better. My first situation that happened was when I was first having my first MMA fight. My grandfather went to Africa, and my mindset is also preoccupied on getting ready for my first event. So I always thought, I say, okay, when he gets back, we're gonna have a tea, just like we always do. I bring them their breakfast, and he's gonna tell me about his trip back home, and I'll tell you how my first fight went. He came back, he wasn't doing so well. He ended up passing. My mind sort of just focus. It didn't hit me that he actually passed away because my sister told me. I was like, nah, that can't be real. It must be a joke. Eventually at the funeral, I realized that my sibling, family member, they was crying. Unfortunately, tears just wasn't coming out. I wasn't crying like them, but tears just wouldn't stop coming. And I found myself in that same situation 3-4 months later when my boxing coach passed away. I found that to be very difficult because for me, the way I would normally cope with things is I get away just to find myself again. Unfortunately, I had a title fight coming up, so I had to still be in camp mode with everybody there. So I was breaking down mentally. I was frustrated with things I couldn't get. I was getting drilled by things. I was getting beat up by things that I would see coming. I just was upset with myself because my head was in the game like it normally was. So I found that a lot difficult than ever. But the point is, I was able to push myself past that, winning the belt with the situation I was dealing with. So I realized I can cope a lot better. So I know a lot what I can go through, regardless how good I'm feeling or not. So over time, we get better with it, but at the same time, it's still things that just not fully there yet. Now I'm still learning about myself as I go.
Fantastic. That's an excellent answer.
I would say the level of resistance has definitely increased, and the time I need to cope with kind of a traumatic event has shortened greatly because I know what to do now. And there's always something in the back of my mind that tells me like, hey, I've been through worse. We're gonna get through this. And there's something to be said. Us both being fighters, we have had to learn how to bite down on our mouth guard and push forward through some trying times. So it just kind of, it's not like I don't go through things anymore. I just go through them faster now that I know how to deal with them.
Yeah. So I call that phenomena, I call it the Rocky moment. As in Rocky Balboa. Of all the movies I've seen, only Rocky movies can you get beat down like that. And then he's always got one more round. No matter what it is, he's always got one more round in him. And so my last question is, what advice would you give to someone who's currently stuck, going through something that is traumatic or just in a really bad headspace? What advice would you give to someone who's just in a bad headspace? You've been there and you've worked your way out of it. What would you say to someone who's stuck?
What I would say to somebody who is stuck is kind of like I said earlier, picture it as a series of small things. Say like, okay, well today I'm gonna get out of bed and have breakfast. Today I'm gonna talk to this friend. It doesn't have to be 0 to 100. Eventually you'd like to get back to normal, but you just gotta take it kind of small steps at a time and while still having your eyes on the long-term goal.
I like it, thank you.
I'll say to them, it's pretty much a day-by-day thing. And on top of that, you just pretty much got to keep going as much as possible. It might not seem like a shiny star at the moment, but you just got to have faith that things going to get better. Faith is going to be a big part of it at the same time. This is where you truly see what you are fully made of. There's gonna be some up and down, but you also got to tell yourself, try to surround yourself with people who will just push you past your comfort zone a little bit, or be there for you when you need it. I know a lot of people are not frank on telling people what's going on in their life, because most of us don't like to open up about ourselves like that. So if you can find even if it's one person, find somebody you can actually count on or trust a little bit or talk to, and that way you can slowly work your way out of whatever you're going through. But you just have to have a little bit of faith.
All right, thank you. So here's the part where you may ask yourself, what's the Cellar Gym? I want to go there. Or you may want to talk to Pam or Nate. And so please give them how they can follow you. How can they follow you guys? Let them know.
You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm figuring out the TikTok, just at Pam Sorenson.
And what's the name again?
Pam Sorenson.
Okay, and?
You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Instagram is the Natural MMA, or on Facebook is Nathaniel Richardson.
All right. Once again, thank you both very much for the interview, and that's it.